Again, good morning, everybody. We have a saying in my household. Well, the old saying is this: behind every good man is a good woman. But we've more or less modified it, and we don't even use that saying in my house anymore. We say somewhere in the proximity of every good man is a good woman, because we find out that women don't have to be behind us anymore. They can be next to us, they can sometimes in front of us, sometimes they lead the charge. So this morning, we have a good woman who has been leading the charge. She's a former lieutenant governor. She's our first female lieutenant governor. She's actually our first lieutenant governor, period, in New Jersey. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to everyone Kim Guadagno.
You all should give yourselves a round of applause for all the great stuff you're doing here. I really do mean that. The fact that the mayor is able to lower taxes in an environment like this is an amazing feat, and I can only hope that the school follows you so you don't get blamed for any raises in taxes, and the county follows you so you don't get any blamed for all the raises in taxes. I know, and you must know, it's not just the mayor and the councils in your tax bill, it's everybody else's. So I'm convinced you're going to be able to persuade them to do the tax holiday. I think that's a fabulous message to send to all the businesses here in Linden and in Union County and in the state of New Jersey. Also, you know, I got here, you all probably were wondering, you know, how did I get here today? Peter Brown and I ran into the same guy. His name's Bill Spadia, and we do the yin and the yang. In other words, he does the yin and I do the yang, and we sit down and we talk about some of the issues in New Jersey. And Peter said, well, why don't you come and talk to my Chamber of Commerce? And I looked down my list of chambers that I have met with over the years, and I have never been here. So I apologize for that. I've been to the Union County one. I've been to Union County 86 times in my official capacity over 8 years. So, and I've been to Linden just twice. Once was, I believe, to walk through Phillips with the complete hazmat outfit on, and that was a picture. And another, I did not do the ribbon cutting at Blue Apron, but it's nice to see that you're here. I know we work very hard at Blue Apron, but also Northeast Linden, are they here? They were going to leave the state of New Jersey, and we literally gave them enough credits to make it viable for them to stay here. So we've done a little work in Linden, not enough. It sounds like you guys are doing enough on your own. But Peter came and asked me to talk about, I'd rather talk about what I'm doing now, but I won't. Talk a little bit about what's going on now in New Jersey. What's going to change as a result of this transition? So a couple of things. First, what does the lieutenant governor do? The answer is whatever the governor tells her to do. And it's the same now as it was before. Sheila Oliver is the second lieutenant governor, the first African-American female lieutenant governor New Jersey's ever had. She will be running the Department of Community Affairs, DCA. So you will all be very, very involved in that. I don't know if you were a UEZ. Are you a UEZ? No. You're not? Well, they're going to expand UEZ, so you all should just get a phone call into Sheila Oliver as quickly as possible to make sure Linden gets into that UEZ, because I've heard they're going to expand it. But she's going to now be in charge of the DCA, the commissioner of the DCA, housing, affordable housing, inspections, a whole panoply of things responsible with making the communities better in New Jersey. Then she will be the lieutenant governor, of course, so she stands in for the governor when he leaves. So, like me, when the governor leaves the state of New Jersey, she's the acting governor, she's the DCA commissioner, and she's the lieutenant governor. And as has been the case in the past with me, she has one job. I know she has 3 jobs in that situation and 1 salary. So not right. Especially since the governor just signed the pay equity bill. So I'm going to call Sheila. We've actually met a couple of times since she's been named the lieutenant governor. I'm going to call her and tell her it's time for her to get pay equity, because you shouldn't be doing 3 jobs and getting paid 1 salary. So I was doing the same. I was in charge of business development in New Jersey, and I'm happy to see that they're continuing it. What they call it, I frankly don't care, so long as it continues. For those of you that have ever called my office, and my cell phone number is the same, it is 609-575-8111, even now. You've called my office, I hope, and gotten help. So we had a small business advocate there staying, that we had a business action center, which is a one-stop shop for businesses like you who might need help cutting through some of the bureaucracy on the state level. That's staying. It's now being run by a woman by the name of, that shouldn't surprise any of you, by a woman by the name of Melanie, she was at BIA. Doherty, but Melanie Doherty, and she is going to be in charge of the Business Action Center, so that will be staying, and those are the people that are the advocates. So those are the people that once you come to a town or a city and you're having a problem with New Jersey, or you've decided to come to a town and you're having a problem with New Jersey, those are the people that cut through it all. Or I'll give you another example. I didn't hear many car dealerships right here, but if you were having a problem, it regularly happens with the MDC getting all your title work done, you can now still call that group, and that group will help you fix the problem. And the numbers are the same. It's on the website, the Business Action Center, Small Business Planner also. And we also have kept a group called Choose New Jersey, which is the marketing arm of the state of New Jersey. It's a group of business people like PSEG, like New Jersey Gas, like Advanced Realty, like Bernie Flynn at New Jersey Manufacturers, a bunch of business people who want to see New Jersey grow because, quite frankly, it helps their business to see New Jersey grow. Choose New Jersey is the name of the entity, and that will stay the same. So we have the same basic structure. Whether they change a name or not really doesn't matter to me. So long as we continue an entity that responds to your needs as business people, then that's what was important to me. I mean, I worked for 8 years to hopefully make sure people had jobs in New Jersey, and that will continue. So Choose New Jersey is the marketing arm in New Jersey. Go outside of New Jersey, bring companies back. And then bring it back to the Economic Development Authority, which we always called the Bank of New Jersey. That still exists, and that's still very active doing tax credits. I believe Blue Apron got tax credits before they came here to New Jersey. And then you can flip over to the Business Action Center for help if you need it. And that to me is exciting. You know, you get into this business of politics for a lot of different reasons, but the first question somebody asked me after I lost the gubernatorial race was, now what are you gonna do? And they were almost in tears. And you know, I said to them, I looked them straight in the eye, I said, you know, I was a lawyer for 35 years before I ran for my first public office, right? So I fully intend to go back and do that. I mean, I've made many, many speeches to many, many groups of people where I've always said, I think I'm gonna go over to the high school in a few minutes and say the same thing. Get your best possible education you can so that when you get a chance to serve, you can, and not risk anything. And then when you serve, you can make the decisions that you believe are the right decisions for the right reasons, because what's the worst that can happen? You lose an election, you go back and do what you wanted to do in the first place. And in my case, I did not, having been born in Iowa, wake up in the morning and say, I want to be the governor of the state of New Jersey, or the first lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey. It didn't exist. In fact, my mother, when I became the lieutenant governor of New Jersey, finally said I lived in New Jersey. It took her that long to spit out the words, my daughter lives in New Jersey. But the fact of the matter is, if you go in with the idea that you want to do something, and the mayor knows this, and Peter Brown knows this, and actually the leaders of this volunteer group, I don't think you get paid a lot of money. I'll double your salary if you do. They do it for the right reasons. They do it because they believe that they can add something to their community. So I got involved in my little tiny town, nonpartisan town in Monmouth Beach, because something made me mad with my kids. 2 years later, I became the sheriff, first woman sheriff in Monmouth County. Yeah, that was a fun job. That usually gets everybody's attention. Really, you don't look like a sheriff, and then that gets a whole conversation. Yeah, in Monmouth County, 670,000 residents, and I ran the jail, the 911 communication center, and 110 guys and girls on the ground. And yeah, I had a Smith & Wesson. Yeah, I had a bulletproof vest, because yeah, I was the highest ranking elected law enforcement official in the county. And then I had a chance to become the lieutenant governor, and who says no to that question? Would you like to become the first lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey? How do you say no to that? You don't. And who knew? We weren't supposed to win. And in fact, when you go back to 2009 and you look at the numbers, we didn't get 50% of the vote. That independent candidate flipped off some of the Democrat vote, which really messed up Governor Corzine. I mean, that's what happened. And then 8 years later, you get a chance to do something nobody else has ever done. No lieutenant governor has ever run for governor. Well, you take your shot. And I did. And I still look back without any regrets, because I loved every single minute of those 8 years. Every time anybody called me on the cell phone, whether it was Subaru saying they're moving out of the state of New Jersey, whether it was any of you here who ever called to say they couldn't get through unemployment because they didn't have the secret sauce number that I had, or whether it was a fireman. I went to the convention a couple of years in a row and had a blast talking to volunteer firemen, giving each one of them my cell phone number. And yes, it was their convention, so after about 11 o'clock at night, I had to turn the phone off for all the reasons you can think of. But they called when they needed me. Zipping through an easy pass with a truck and a fire engine to a call, these guys would get charged. And there was no way they could get off their easy pass because nobody answers the phone at easy pass. In fact, they didn't answer the phone for me. I had to go all the way over to easy pass and say, hello, I'm the lieutenant governor. Can you just take this emergency fee off of the chief of the fire department's easy pass bill, those kinds of things. That's why we do what we do. Not every day is a great day. And we could spend another hour on that, and I won't. But you look back and you get a phone call on Palm Sunday 6 years ago from a mother who's standing in an emergency room, having just seen her daughter revive for like the third time with Narcan. She says, I can't find a bed for my daughter. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, I can't get anybody on the phone right now. Give me 2 hours. And we found her a bed. That's why you do this. That's why I did it. And I'm very proud of our record with business, but I'm more proud of the record of the things that none of you know about. So I enjoyed the last 8 years. This is part of what I call my thank you tour. Thank you for everything that you do. Keep it up. I see Linden is under great control and understands the need to create commercial and residential and the balance that is needed to continue increasing rateable so you can continue to lower your property taxes and your taxes in general. You're on the right path. And so is New Jersey, because they're keeping all of the things in New Jersey that will make your lives better. So I thank you very much for having me. I can take a question or two until Peter Brown tells me it's time to go. And there's a question, always a question in the back, yes?
Yes, with the recent influx of entertainment business and business going into politics, what do you think that's saying to the politician right now?
Say that again, I didn't hear that.
With the influx of people outside of politics, business owners, entertainment people getting into politics, what do you think that's saying to the politicians today?
I think they're game on. They have competition. Elections have consequences, and I think the one thing you can say generally in a good way is that over the last couple of years, whether you liked what was going on in Washington or not, we certainly have engaged. We've engaged the millennials, we've engaged the children, and people now understand that if you have a choice to run to fix things, you better run and fix things or sit down and shut up. I mean, that's really what it is, because last year in the gubernatorial election, less than 2.5 million people voted out of a possible 6. That's not right. I think that will change. And so I believe what we're seeing now, and forget political persuasion, this doesn't have anything to do, it just doesn't. The fact that women are willing to stand up and say out loud what happened to them, children are willing to go and protest gun laws, all of that is good for us. I think that's democracy in action. I think we needed a little adjustment, and we're sure getting it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a son that's in high school, and obviously every day I send him to school now, you know, I have a knot in the pit of my stomach. Do you feel like that I really hope that like the powers that be there really open their eyes and try to do something. I'm really proud of the kids, and I think that's amazing that they're really trying to do something, and I'm hoping that's finally gonna do something. But, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I just feel like so much more should be done, and I don't know why they're not taken seriously enough. Why does it take more kids to be killed before they want to do something? And I know it's a gun issue and stuff, but I think they all need to
Yeah, but
come
it's not a
together.
gun issue, is it?
No, I don't think
I mean,
so.
it's really not a gun issue. I have a 17-year-old. Well, I had 3 kids go through school. One's now an F-16 fighter pilot, so I'm not too worried about him. He's going to be bombing the bad guys pretty soon. And another one is graduating from college and actually has a job. I'm very proud of him. That's a shock. And then my 17-year-old is challenged. And he's not going to college, but he is going to high school every day, and you worry about them every day. Yesterday, I believe the Assembly and the Senate passed 6 gun bills. I haven't, frankly, paid that much attention. You know, I kind of turned it off. I kind of turned off some of that politics, but in New Jersey, we're really very lucky. And because we have very strong bullying laws, and the chief will tell you this already, they have very strong bullying laws. They're very active in the community in terms of gun safety, either with these new rules or even with the old rules. In New Jersey, we have the 3rd most restrictive gun laws in the country, probably now the 2nd, maybe even the 1st behind Denver with Columbine, and Connecticut with Sandy Hook. So we were there anyway. Anything we can do to protect our children, I'm all in for. Florida, on the other hand, where the Parkland shootings occurred, you've all read what's going on. You know, can a sheriff's officer really stand outside and not engage? Did that really happen? And if so, why did it happen? A lot of unanswered questions there. But also, they had very loose gun laws. And I personally, even though I have, look, I'm an A rating from the NRA. I do. But I was the sheriff of Monmouth County. What do you expect? Right? I carried a gun. I understand gun safety. That gun was never in my house. And it was never unlocked because I couldn't shoot straight, quite frankly, and I thought it was dangerous. And you know what? When you use a gun, I don't need to tell you, the chief of police is sitting here. When you use a gun in the law enforcement arena, you better be willing to kill somebody. And I wasn't. But that doesn't mean that we can't fix it on a national basis. It's not just get rid of the AR-15s, which personally I don't believe have any, other than sport, maybe at a gun show or at a shooting gallery, I just don't get it. How can a kid get an AR-15? And why didn't we have mental health checks? We need to do better. And hopefully on a national basis we will, but I know we are here in New Jersey and there's some money set aside for that. So that's the hopeful thing. I don't think in New Jersey we can take the position just bad things happen, because in New Jersey we know better than that. The old see something, say something needs to occur everywhere. And zero tolerance is good. You come into a high school with a knife, you're out. Done. And that's the way it should be. Putting guns in the hands of teachers in a classroom, I think, is asking them far too much. That is not what they were trained to do. That is not what they need to do. But putting guns in the hands of a resource officer, that one's a better call. But also we need to ramp up our, responsiveness. The FBI knew about this kid, right? So that's my personal opinion. There's one over here.
Just I want to thank you for advance. My son is an ROTC student.
Ah, good.
Speaking to
What
him this morning.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yes, and he told me he was so excited. He goes, "We're having a lieutenant governor come."
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
A mother first, right?
Question for you: what is your stance on legalizing marijuana?
Absolutely not. And in my opinion, and I will tell you why. Because that 17-year-old I talked about is in and out of recovery 4 times already. And he started with marijuana. And 3 months, and I did not talk about it on the campaign trail for obvious reasons. It's not my story to tell. But you want to know why I'm against legalizing marijuana? Because he comes home every day from his recovery high school and says, I can't wait to legalize marijuana so I can come home and get high. I'm like, really? Because there's the door. The second you come into my house high, talk to any law enforcement officer. Do you know what your chief of police will have to do if he pulls somebody over he thinks is high? in order to test to see whether or not he's high, skip the more than just a whiff thing, he's going to have to call a judge. He's going to have to get a search warrant for blood test. He's going to have to get somebody out to draw the blood, and then he's going to have to make a decision when he gets the blood test back about whether that kid was driving high. The National Association of Drug Enforcement Officers just issued a report on the other states that have legalized marijuana, and it's a disaster. Pull it up and look at it. You will never convince me as a mother that it's not a gateway drug. I've seen too much of it. That having been said, if my kid had seizures and needed medical marijuana, I would want my kid to get medical marijuana. And there is actually a case on the books right now, and I know because my husband wrote the opinion. He's a retired judge now. There is a case on the books right now where a mother needed to provide medical marijuana to her daughter for seizures, and because it was a Schedule I drug, she couldn't go to school and do it, and no one at the school would do it in New Jersey. So what would have to happen is the daughter would have to be taken from the school off and outside of the drug-free zone around the school, provided her medical marijuana, and then take it back to school. That's ridiculous. It's a medical condition. That, by the way, saves lives. And if you've talked to anybody on medical marijuana, you'll know it saves lives. It takes you off steroids that are killing you. It helps seizures. It makes your end-of-life choices easier. And in many cases, it is a lifesaver. So I don't have any objection to increasing the availability of medical marijuana. But legalizing marijuana, and even the discussion of legalizing marijuana, is causing problems, at least in my own home. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of people fighting over that in Trenton. So that's always a fun debate, right, Peter? Didn't you go and testify this week?
No, I haven't today.
Oh, you're testifying today? Against it?
Yes.
Just check. I'm gonna make him go on record right now. All right, I'm gonna go over to the high school. They've been very kind to invite me over as part of Women's History Month and talk to the kids, but in case you're worried about whether or not I'm gonna talk politics, I'm gonna talk the sheriff's job, because that's the one that teaches people they can be whatever they wanna be. Because when you always look at me and say, you were the sheriff, that starts that conversation. Really, why can't I be the sheriff? So I'm going to go over and tell them to get the best possible education they can, because if you get a chance to do something, to have the kind of life I've had so far, you should do it. And just for the record, I will become a partner in a law firm maybe 4 weeks from now. It's time to go back to work. My husband's sick of me. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for having me.